Hello world. Starting a live video. We're going to do a live Q&A. This day just has not gone as planned for us. Our internet is down. Our phones are down. The weather is absolutely horrific outside, and it is really putting a damper on the day. So we're gonna do a live Q&A. Well, we've got nothing to do. I mean, obviously my cell phones have internet, but it's our computers here and stuff are all down. Our phones are down. They're having a hard time getting things working. And then the poopy weather has canceled most of our field trips for today, and so I'm just hanging out in the training room. I don't even have access to my office right now. Hanging out in the training room. Emma's over here working some of the dogs that are here, and so we're just gonna answer people's questions while we're here. Hello. It's awesome to see you. I'm sorry you're having a rough day. Oh, it's not necessarily rough. It's just a little tedious. But it's a good thing for all of you, because now I can be here to chat with all of you and answer your questions if you have any. I actually have two phones running at the moment, so if you see me shifting things around, I'm already getting annoyed with the angle because it's like hurting my neck. So if you see me shifting things around, it's because I've got both phones going. I've got this same live segment going on Instagram and Facebook. Tends to be just the easiest for me. So if you see me moving around and stuff like that, it's because I'm trying to multitask. Let's see, questions about dog training, questions about business, questions about life, and I'll do my best to answer what I can. Hello. No questions, just want you to know you're all amazing and appreciated. Thank you very much, Beth. Look forward to seeing you again soon. I know you had to reschedule your session, but hopefully we can get you in again. Awesome to see you. I'm sorry you've been having a rough day. I think I just read that one. Rolling with the punches, that's right. Hello. Man, I'm just getting all the coolest people on the planet joining in today. Is this just the time that everybody's just like 2:45? This is it? Is this when everybody's picking up their kids from school and just waiting in their cars on Facebook and Instagram? How do you work with dog parents outside of your state? So I would say the large majority of our board and train clients are from out of state. I'd say only about 25% of them are local, and so we do get people from just about every state pretty regularly. We just took in a dog from Mississippi, and so we're pretty comfortable with that process. We feel like we've got all the kinks ironed out at this point. But the way that it works is that we have video footage that the owners study while the whole time the dog is in board and train. It's very extensive, very in-depth, and they really learn our entire training system while the dog is learning it as well. And then they come in for 2 days of training at pickup, and it's anywhere between 6 and 10 hours of training with their dogs, and we cover everything from obedience to off-leash training to whatever aggression issues that they might have, so socialization with other dogs, socialization with people, resource guarding. We'll go over if they need that, crate training, anything that the dog might have struggled with while they were here, how to officially communicate, how to set up their household when they go home, how to have their dogs interact with other dogs, how to have their dogs interact with guests. Really trying to conquer every single aspect of the training in those 6 to 10 hours while the dogs are here, or while the owners are here working with their dogs. And then we send them on their way, and they also get 2 follow-up sessions. And usually if the people are from far away, some of our clients are just diehard. They want to do the best thing for their dogs, so they drive all the way back out for their follow-up sessions. Follow-up sessions, they get 2. The first one they schedule within the first month of the dog going home. The second one they can schedule at any time, depending on when they might need the most help with their dog. And those sessions last as long as is necessary for the client to get all of their questions answered and work through any issues that they might have. If the client who is out of state is unable to drive back into state, we do those sessions via Zoom, and they can film and document whatever it is that they're struggling with, and we can give demonstrations on our side with the dogs that we have for whatever it is that they might be going through, in case they have forgotten anything or feel like their situation is maybe outside of the norm and the videos don't answer their questions and such. And then we are available for email questions, text questions, phone calls, all of that sort of stuff, pretty much endlessly for the rest of the dog's life. They can contact us. I have clients from years ago who call in every now and then, and they're like, hey, we just adopted another dog. How should we be doing A, B, and C? And we're available for all that. That's all included with their board and train. We want to really be their dog trainer for life, and give people the best advice that we can moving forward. So that's pretty much how it works with out-of-state people. What do you do about separation anxiety? Any suggestions? One of the biggest things that helps separation anxiety is separation. So it almost sounds counterintuitive, but it's definitely super beneficial. But when your dog spends a lot of time with you, it almost gets addicted to the endorphin release of physical touch, physical proximity. And then when your dog try to go away from your dog, it's really hard for your dog's brain to produce its own endorphins and dopamine and stuff like that. So you get kind of this crazy outburst from your dog where they just can't handle it, kind of like a drug addict going away from drugs or an alcoholic going away from alcohol. It's almost a withdrawal syndrome. So removing affection is very, very helpful. Adding more separation to your life. So place command, having your dog hold their place command away from you. Maybe even having some other people handle your dog, walk your dog, and things like that, so that there isn't so much closeness and proximity, touching, affection, all of that sort of stuff that can become overwhelming to the dog. If you're dealing with a dog that you just got and it's an abuse case or what have you, still a lot of the same things are going to apply. Connecting with your dog in a different way, maybe doing more exercise where you're playing fetch or you're playing tug, or doing more training as a way of bonding rather than spending a lot of time really close, snuggled up on the couch and all this sort of stuff that makes separation anxiety significantly worse going on. It's really great to teach your dog to stand on their own 2 feet and know how to be without you. Is it okay to walk my dogs without them always being in heel positions? Sometimes we just want to be more relaxed. It is okay as long as your dogs can take direction. If your dog is struggling to take direction and they're tuning you out on the walk, then that's where that starts to become problematic. So. Dog is afraid to walk. I would just keep moving forward on the leash, depending on what it is that they're afraid to walk past. It might be a little bit above their pay grade, but I would put pressure on the leash, and it's not you dragging them or anything like that, but pressure on the leash, and as soon as they take a step, loosen that pressure, and they say, oh, so you want me to walk? Yeah, I want you to walk. Pressure. As soon as they start walking, pressure off. Let them know that once they start walking with you, that's exactly what they're looking for. Most owners actually do the opposite. They pull on the leash and they just keep pulling even after the dog starts walking. And the dog says, okay, well, it doesn't matter whether I go or I stop, you're going to pull on the leash. Or they don't do anything about it and the dog says, cool, I can just stop whenever I want and I don't have to address my fears or anything like that. So make sure you're being fair about it. Pressure, as soon as they say, okay, but I'll only take 2 steps, great, that's all I need from you, 2 steps, nice job. And the dog goes, oh, you just want me to walk, I gotcha. Usually fixes itself pretty quickly. What's the best way to help my strong, big dog on walks without him going insane when he sees another dog? He's aggressive now because he was attacked. There's no one answer. So the way that question is phrased is kind of looking for a single answer. There's not. It's going to be something where you're going to have to change the household up a little bit, creating a little bit more structure, a little bit more leadership in the house, and then really working on your walk. We have free videos on our YouTube channel that can help you with walking, and our online courses go very, very in depth as to what creates reactivity, how to address it. There's different ways that we can address it. There's different reasons that it happens and stuff like that, but it is something where you have to calm the dog's brain out on the walk so that you don't get as many explosions, knowing how to read that. Again, our free YouTube videos can help with a lot of that, but there's a lot of aspects that go into it. You can't always just address the walk and expect the walk to change. It's something that dog training is very much, it has to be a lifestyle in order for the dog to genuinely change. Very much, if you wanted to be great at anything, it's going to have to be a very big part of your life. It's not something that you're just going to be able to do an hour a day and expect to just be a master at it, especially if in the other 23 hours during the day, you're doing things that are counterproductive to that. So for instance, if you wanted to be on a diet or what have you, and you really want to lose weight and you go to the gym an hour a day, but you just eat copious amounts of food or junk food the whole rest of the day, the 1 hour of the gym is negated by the rest of the stuff that you're doing. So sometimes it's not just the walk that we can address. Sometimes we need to address the dog as a whole. And so online courses can really help with a lot of that on helping you see the world from kind of every perspective and every angle from the dog, so that you really start getting to the root of it rather than just trying to subdue the behaviors on the walk. So our online courses are 50% off for the month of May. So if it is something that you're going to do, now is the time to do it. If you use the coupon code 50OFF, 50OFF, when you register for our online courses, you get 50% off. So let's see. A dog loves all dogs except when he's on a leash. It's pretty normal. And my first thing that I would say is your dog probably doesn't love all dogs. Your dog probably gets almost hyper anxious around other dogs, and it looks like excitement, which is a very big misconception for people who are just don't do this every day. They're not a professional dog trainer, but it's usually a hyper anxious response where the dog is getting overwhelmed, they're stressed, but it's coming off as excitement and kind of sporadic play and stuff like that. And the reason that we don't see it as aggression is because when they're off leash, they have the opportunity to really move around and flee and make space for themselves. When they're on a leash, they're trapped, and we usually see a lot of different behaviors coming out of the dog. And that's one explanation. That's usually the most common, though. We get a dog who feels trapped, they can't create space for themselves, they don't really trust the handler to take control of the situation, so they start acting aggressively to just try to keep the dogs at bay. So that can be definitely one part of it. You could also have a territorial issue, which again is not as common as the first one, but it does happen. You can have a territorial issue coming from your dog. You could have a dog that is just completely overwhelmed and frustrated and kind of coming off like that too. Again, not quite as common as the very first one. That's the one we see the absolute most. My suggestion is don't do on-leash greetings until you have your dog into a much better place where they're much more relaxed around dogs. The relationship with you is one of very strong trust. And then I would only socialize with dogs that matter. So dogs that you can finish the whole socialization process with, and dogs that are going to be in your life. So the fly-by-night people who are walking on the walk, or your brother-in-law who comes with his 2 crazy labs twice a year, those are not dogs that you need to bother socializing your dogs with. It should be something that matters, that you can complete the process with and make sure that your dog has a perfect experience every time. Laughing at some of the questions. Somebody wants me to teach their dog to open the fridge. I know you have a shadow program for professionals. Do you plan on putting more available dates on the site? Well, all the dates for this year are full. So once I know what my 2022 year looks like, I will put out more dates, but there's a lot of moving parts with our schedule and things like that. So it's something I will announce as soon as I can. How long are your board and trains? They're either 4, 6, or 8 weeks. The 4-week program is designed for dogs with no behavioral issues, so happy-go-lucky dogs. The 6-week program is designed for mild to moderate behavioral issues, so mild fear, mild anxiety, mild aggression, or what have you. It's also designed for those happy-go-lucky dogs that are looking for off-leash training. They can go into the 6-week program. The 8-week program is for moderate to severe behavioral issues. So we have some dogs with us right now that are doing the 8-week program, like Kane. Kane is definitely on the severe side, so he's doing the 8-week program. It's also the bomb-proof program, so if you have those happy-go-lucky dogs, the 8-week program is pretty much bomb-proof on leash and off. So just depending on what your goals are for your dog and the behavioral issues that your dog has. We don't usually get dogs that don't have any behavioral issues. It's very rare, but sometimes we do get those calls. I have a dog I adopted yesterday and she's afraid of everything. How do I improve her confidence with people and places? Right now it's just strictly about decompression. Don't introduce her to anybody. Don't do anything like that. It's going to take her a while to settle into your home, to settle in with you. Crate time, place command, nice walks, building really clear trust, work her for her food, incorporate playtime and exercise every single day. When you have a nice settled dog who's just much more stable, much more relaxed in their environment, they have adapted to their environment, then you can go ahead and start introducing her to other stuff. But the mindset's just not there yet. It's going to backfire on you right now. What kind of structure should I keep with my 2 mals during the day to give them a balanced day with structure? There's a lot of things that you can incorporate. So I'll give you an example of what a board and train dog's day might look like here. So when they first wake up, they go potty. A lot of times they work for breakfast right after that. So they work for breakfast through recall maybe, or basic commands maybe, or targeting aggression issues like nail trimming or something like that. They'll either do that first and then do a long stint of place command where they're just settled. They usually get some rigorous exercise after that. Once their food has settled, they'll do treadmill, or they'll do walking, or they'll do longboarding or something like that with us, where they really get an outlet. They get to play fetch, they get to play tug, they get to do stuff like that, all of which are very structured games in and of themselves if you're teaching them the right way. And then after that, a lot of times they get to just be a dog. Then we might do structured socialization. They might go on a field trip. It might be something where they work for their dinner towards the end of the night. They do more long place, and then they get downtime in their kennel. Something like that. That would be a really good day for a Malinois. We want to send our German Short Hair Pointer to you for dog and people reactivity. Can you also help me with nail trimming reactivity? He's 70 pounds. Absolutely. Nail trimming is actually something that we teach every single board and train when they come through. Grooming as well, so how to be in the bathtub, how to have their ears cleaned, all of that sort of stuff. That's all included whether your dog needs it or not, because we have to take care of them while they're here, and so we put them through that process every single time. How to stop a puppy from random barking at noises he hears outside, please. I don't think it's as simple as just giving a correction. If your puppy is kind of hyper alert all the time and barking at every single noise, you probably have a skittish dog or a fearful dog. Exposure, I think, would be a really beneficial thing, but exposure has to be done the right way. Has to be something that's very controlled. Has to be something that's very built around trust, where you are advocating for the dog, but they get to go see the world. They get to go look at a lot of places, be around a lot of different kinds of people and noises and sounds and textures and everything like that. Our puppy course, our basic course, our intermediate course goes over all of that pretty in depth. So if you want to look into our online courses, it can teach you exactly how to do that to make sure that your dog comes out more confident than when they went in. I don't think it's something as simple as just correcting your dog for those behaviors. It sounds like there's something deeper going on there that if we address, we'll eradicate the behavior much better. Best way for someone to leash a fearful dog. My dog is fine with the person in the home, but won't let them touch. They will be letting the dog out while we are gone. Is the dog just loose? My suggestion would be that the dog should be in a crate before the people come over, and then they can put a slip lead on the dog when the dog is in the crate, walk them out to go potty, bring them back, and just slip the slip lead off at that point. That's what we do with our board and train dogs. If the dog is in the crate and very skittish or aggressive or something like that, we might take one of those little grabber hands to hold part of the leash open. So we're holding the back end of the leash and the grabber hand is on the loop holding it, and just slide it over the dog's head and then slip the slip lead and then move them out or something like that. Let them go potty on leash, then bring them back inside. And if you're not pulling the tab down on the slip leash, it really doesn't take much. You could even let the dog go back into the kennel and use the grabber hand to pull the leash off of the dog. We have to do that pretty regularly until the dog builds a relationship with us. My dog is the only dog in the home. When we go to the dog park, he can be aggressive, possessive about sharing water. How do I stop that when there's no dogs at home to continuously work on it? My advice is probably going to be not something that you're looking for, but my advice would be not to go to the dog park. I teach all of my clients never to go to the dog park. It's absolute probably worst place to bring your dog. Just because you have no control over the situation. So it wouldn't even be something that I would tell you to, hey, go ahead and try to train for that. Because you have no control. You have no control about how he's going to respond. You're going to have no control over the other dogs there, the other people there. You're setting your dog up for failure at a dog park, whether your dog is happy-go-lucky or not. And it doesn't matter how well-trained your specific dog is, if the other dogs there are not perfectly well trained and they are perfectly well trained under your direction, you still have no control. And so it's a very expensive hand of blackjack every single time that you go there, because you're just gambling at that point. And all it takes is one bad experience for your dog to be completely changed after they leave that dog park. So dog park is not what I would recommend. It would be something that if you wanted to socialize in small groups of dogs that you know, where you have full control and you wanted to address a situation like that, yeah, that would be different. And the first thing that I would start teaching is recall off of water. So another dog starts coming over to the water, teach your dog to recall off of water, high value reward on the other side. They learn that it's okay to move away from water and that it's very rewarding to do so. And that doesn't mean you're bribing them where you're showing them the food and begging them to come to you. It's Zoe, clear recall, dog recalls to you, nice job, food reward when they get to you, and start creating that pattern. That would be the first step that I would do. Let's see here. Just bought your online course. Thank you so much, Cindy. I very much appreciate that. Our online courses are 50% off for the month of May, so you have 4 more days to take advantage of that. They probably won't be on sale for the rest of the year, I would assume. So 50% off if you go to our website, which is methodk9.com. Actually, I wonder if I can be savvy here. Let's see if my phone will do this. I am just posted a comment with the link to our Thinkific website. I don't know if this one will let me do it. This is how long it's been since I've made a live video. I know there's ways to do fancy stuff, but maybe I am not the one. So I actually have to type it out on this one. Method K9. Thinkific.com. Hopefully that works. Let's see if you folks can let me know. So posting the link on, I think that one's Facebook, in the comments as well there. So if you go to our website, if those links don't work, you can go to our website, which is methodk9.com. You click on the online courses tab. It'll show you all the online courses available, and you can see which one might best fit your dog. So we have classes for puppies between 8 weeks and 5 months. If your dog's older than 5 months, you should do basic and intermediate. If you're on a budget and you really just want your dog to walk better on a leash and not be so reactive, not be so explosive and all that sort of stuff, we have a leash reactivity course. But my recommendation for everybody with a dog 5 months and older is to do the basic foundation followed by the intermediate foundation, and it's going to cover the whole dog. It's really going to cover everything to help you through most situations. If you have serious aggression problems, that's something that I would not rely on an online course. It'll definitely help, but I would not rely on that to resolve all of it. You should really look into doing you know, some pretty extensive training with an experienced trainer. So let's see. I bought your basic and intermediate course recently. My biggest issue is my lab has separation anxiety. COVID allowed me to be home all the time and no one can walk him but me, and he can't relax without me. You need to do that more often. So the big problem is that the dog freaks out as soon as someone else takes him, and then people are done. They're like, oh, well, that was miserable. Let's not do that again. He needs more of that. He needs other people to take him out. He needs to be separated from you. When you're home with him, no more physical affection, no more cuddling, no on the couch together, no in the bed together, none of that. Dog should sleep in a crate. Dog should be on place command when you're home during the day. Structured walking, all of that sort of stuff is going to really help. So remove affection, start having some other people handle your dog, place command. We've got to start severing that endorphin fixation, that dopamine addiction that is going on with your dog. You answered my question. I'll look into the courses. Thank you so much. The link worked. Thank you so much, Becca. Okay, we're going to jump over here to Facebook because I have been neglecting you. I'm going to move this because it is genuinely killing my neck to do all of this. Okay. Coco sends sunshine to you. My girl, I need more videos, please, Lisa. It's been a while. I have not got a video update or a picture update, and I need to see my girl. Thank you. Let's see. We have a 4-month-old boxer female that is a jumper when she sees dogs and other people. Any tips? You gotta leave your dog on leash until the dog knows not to jump on people. So first rule, dogs on leash every single time they greet someone. That might mean that your dog's dragging a leash around in the house during the day. But as soon as they go to jump, grab that leash, nope, pull them back down firmly. They try to jump, nope, pull them back down firmly. Now here's the other part of it. This is the part that everybody messes up, and I see it constantly, and people are like, I can't get rid of jumping. Your dog learns in a pattern, okay? And it's the first part of the pattern and the last part of the pattern that they really put together, okay? So if the first part of the pattern is, I jump all over somebody, mom comes over, she pulls me down, she tells me I'm not a good dog, and then I go all the way back down, and then the guest pets me because I have 4 feet on the floor. The pattern is I jump and I eventually get pet, right? And that's the sequence that you're training your dog to do. So here's what you need to do. If your dog jumps on you, jumps on your guest, jumps on your kids, and you correct them and they go back down, great. Everybody who was involved takes their attention elsewhere. You can mark it, you can say good girl, good dog, good boy, whatever you want to say. Let the dog know that they made the correct choice, but attention goes away. That's the game. If you approach me correctly, absolutely you get my attention. If you approach me incorrectly, I'm going to correct you, I'm going to put you back down, and I'm walking away. You can try again later, okay? That's the pattern that you have to set. And if your guests won't comply with that, they're going to pet your dog no matter what. Don't let your dog interact at all. Use that leash, keep your dog by your side. Say, oh, nope, I genuinely want to get rid of this because she knocked down Great Aunt Sally and broke her hip, and I'm not going to have it again, okay? So be stern with your guests. If they can't comply, then that's the end of it. Let's see. I promise I'm not trying to like zoom up my nose or anything like that, but that's how close the camera is for me to read with my old eyeballs, so I'm sorry. I've already answered separation anxiety questions. No questions today. Oh no. I'm losing connectivity on the Facebook page. Let's see. Great Aunt Sally. I know. I've used that example for years. Do you correct a dog for hackles on a walk at other dogs? Dog, that whole question disappeared. Dog is otherwise in heel position and quiet. I wouldn't say it's necessarily correcting, but your dog is escalating. Your dog is really getting to the point where the adrenaline is starting to pump. It's something that we need to get them out of that mindset, because the more that they escalate, the less coachable they become. So if we let them stay there, if they try to do something or they really get worked up or they get stressed out and we really need to help them, they're not in a coachable position. So it isn't something I would necessarily correct, but it is something that I would interrupt the dog for. So check out our YouTube page if you don't have any of our online courses already. And so there's a video on how to stop your dog from pulling on leash. Hello, we lost the internet there for a minute. Welcome to our world over at Method K9 today. But this one's actually connected to the Wi-Fi. That's why there's an issue. This one is not. But we have the video, and the video says something like how to stop leash pulling or something like that, but it goes over a really great move that is helpful for reactivity as well. It's called a V-turn. I would strongly suggest kind of using that to interrupt the dog and bring their energy level back down so that we can coach them when we need to. How do you do the ecollar training? What for and how? Is there an online course? We do not offer an online course for ecollar training. It is only done in board and train. Ecollars are very advanced. Your dog needs to have a lot of skills. You need to be a pretty good dog handler. You need to really understand dog psychology in order for that tool to really work out the way that you want it to. And so we're very specific about the brands that we use. We're very specific about how it gets trained because we want your dogs to absolutely thrive. So we don't offer it online. It is something that if you want your dog ecollar trained, off-leash trained, all that sort of stuff, it would be a board and train program. My dog barks and lunges at strangers walking by, and it's becoming a problem to the point where we might have to move out of our apartment. First step, if your dog is showing any type of aggression, reactivity, resource guarding, any of that, your dog needs to be muzzle conditioned ASAP. Not everyone knows what I mean when I say muzzle conditioned. So a muzzle is something that goes over the dog's face. You don't want something that straps their mouth shut. That's definitely unfair. They can't pant and cool themselves, especially when they're stressed. And if they're acting aggressive, they're definitely stressed. But you want some type of basket over the dog's face. So we like Baskerville muzzles, we like Jeffco muzzles, we like Dean and Tyler muzzles, depending on the shape of your dog's face. But muzzle conditioning means that you make it a pleasant experience for the dog. And so if the dog is not used to wearing a muzzle, they will thrash and kick and bite and injure themselves as soon as you try to put it on, or they won't let you put it on at all. So muzzle conditioning is a process that you need to go through to get them comfortable putting it on, having it strapped to their head, walking with it. It's a process. It's going to take a little while, but I would start doing that ASAP if your dog has any issues, even remotely like this. We have free videos on our YouTube page on how to muzzle condition. It's a 2-part tutorial that can help you get through that process. So that you can at least be safe in your apartment complex. So that's one way to avoid getting your dog kicked out, is saying, you know what, my dog cannot bite you. I may still have the issue, but my dog cannot bite you. I'm fully muzzle conditioned now, and my dog, every time I go out of the apartment, will be muzzled from here on out. Great thing about the basket muzzles, your dog can pant, but they can also eat and drink through that as well. So if you were hiking or something like that and you gave your dog a bowl of water, they would be able to drink through that. If you needed to work with food or treats or something like that, you would be able to do that too. So very comfortable once the dog is actually conditioned to it. So my neck is dying, so we've got both phones now. How do I get our current foster to not bark, growl, lunge at my husband when he enters the house? She stops doing that once he is in the house and with us, though still nervous. Place command will help, but I also think that your husband needs to take over part of the training. So your husband should be working the dog for its food. Your husband should be responsible for walking the dog, doing recall training, all of the things that help fulfill the dog, playtime, all of that. To try to change the dog's perception of your husband, and it should be done less by the other people in the house, and that should start moving things forward. How much is your 8-week board and train? Our 8-week board and train is $60 to $100. We require a 50% deposit to reserve your space, and the other 50% is not due until the start date. We're usually booked 4 to 6 months in advance. Someone just wrote online course. Oh. Yes, I already answered that one. So lots of reactivity questions here. Again, go to our YouTube page, look at the how to get your dog to walk nicely in heel position, or how to get your dog to walk nicely on leash. I don't even remember what the video is called, but it's a great move called the V-turn. Very, very helpful for interrupting a lot of reactivity and stuff like that. If you need additional help and that reactivity is pretty deep, strongly suggest our online courses. Take the basic foundation course followed by the intermediate foundation course, and it'll address not just your walk, but the entire lifestyle of the dog to make sure that you're getting to the root of those issues. Oops. Can't wait to come out in July. It's so close, but so far away. I know, we're almost there. How many trainers do you have? What has been your most effective way in finding good people? I'm struggling hard to find the right person to bring on my team. I totally feel you with that. And our company's definitely different. We now have, I can't even remember. I think we have 5 full-time trainers. Yeah, we have 5 full-time trainers, and then myself, obviously, and we have one more full-time trainer who is moving from Colorado to come up here. And we just hired somebody else that moved up from Southern Idaho, Boise, to work here as well. And so with our system, we almost never hire someone with dog training experience. It just doesn't work out. There's always conflict of interest. There's always, them cutting corners or not doing it your way, that kind of stuff. And so we never hire anybody with experience. Experience with dogs is good, but not necessarily dog training. What we hire on is the person's work ethic, their personality, their trustworthiness. That's what we look at more than anything else. And the people that we have are phenomenal. And we try to set up our business in such a way that they thrive here, and they love coming to work. And it is something where we as employers try to make sure that their life at work is not the most paramount thing, that their life as a person is the most paramount thing. So Julius tells every single employee that their life outside of work matters just as much. So we always try to make sure that they get the time off of it that they need. If their kid is sick, that they can absolutely leave when they need to, that they have insurance benefits, and they have paid time off, and they have all the things that they need to make sure that their outside life is as best as it can possibly be. And we find that they work significantly better at that point. But finding people is definitely challenging. We tend to look at our shadow programs a lot. Our shadow programs bring a lot of great people to us, and we really just keep an eye out in the community for anybody who we feel fits our company and what it is that we represent here. And sometimes we'll just approach that person and say, do you want a career in dog training? And believe it or not, most people do. So once we get the core values in place, the honesty, the trustworthiness, the being very responsible, all of that sort of stuff, being a really great team player, down to earth. Once we find those qualities, which are probably the hardest part, we can make them into a dog trainer. And our staff, our trainers, go through a year of intensive training as assistant trainers before they get promoted to an actual trainer. So Lauren just completed her year of intensive training, and she just got promoted this week. So Lauren is, she's stuck with us for life. Once you become a trainer, you can't actually leave. That's when we lock the doors. The investment is huge. You're not going anywhere. No. But we do try to make it the best possible place to work so that they don't want to go anywhere, because the investment is so huge that, we want them to be here for life, obviously, but we also connect with each one of these people. We know their families, we've been to their houses, we've gone to dinner with them, we have game night with them, we know their birthdays and all those types of things, and hopefully that it's how it is with every employer in the future, but we know that it's not always that way. But that's how we find our people. I don't know if that helps you at all, but that's how we've found our people, and I think we have great people on our staff. So let's see. So I answered that question about the husband issue. How do I break fixation on other dogs passing while my German Shepherd is tied up? You might have to sit out there and work on that, work on maybe some place command outside. It's something that you're going to have to supervise every single second that your dog is tied up for a while to create a new habit. It can't be something where you're going to go inside and multitask. If you can't keep an eye on the dog, you should go in a crate somewhere. Your reactivity online class helped my dog so much. I did that one first and then bought the other courses. Well, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I'm super glad to hear that. Thank you. What do you recommend for training treats? I recommend the dog's daily meal. We don't use any treats in our training programs. We recommend that people teach their dogs to work for their daily meals, whether that's raw food or that's kibble or whatever it is you feed your dog. You're going to have a significantly better response and significantly better work ethic over time. Best way to keep an unleashed stray away from your dog and heel. Yeah, that's always a really sticky situation. The first and foremost thing that you should do is try to address the dog when they are as far away as possible. So don't wait for them to get right up on you, because it gets a heck of a lot more difficult the closer they get. So as soon as you see the dog kind of moving in your direction, one of the first things I teach my clients and I teach my staff is you need to be the loudest, most obnoxious, puffed up person you've ever been. Hey! And put your dog behind you, get right in that dog's face with a lot of forward power. A lot of times that spooks them and they take off. If that's not the case and they keep continuing in your direction, obviously there's the bigger things that people carry. People carry a knife, people carry bear spray, they'll carry whatever. You can do those things if you want to. I personally have not found the need for a lot of that. But again, some dogs are really, really, really serious. But what I typically do is I teach my clients to toss anything that's near you toward the oncoming dog. So if there's pine cones or something like that, or a handful of gravel or something, start tossing that out to the dogs. The dogs don't like being bumped in the face by stuff. So tossing that out is really helpful. If you know you're going to be walking on city streets and you're like, I'm not going to be able to grab anything if I see that, you can always put a handful of pea gravel in your treat bag that you might be walking with you and toss some of that towards the oncoming dog. It really, really works great, and it's something that you can keep a dog that's 20 feet away at bay before they even really get fixated on you. So really, really helpful. If that's all out of the question, the dog just bolted out of somebody's front door and just shot over to you, do your very best. Put your dog behind you. You're going to use your extended leg to keep shoving the oncoming dog away from your dog. I don't recommend kicking the oncoming dog, just because a human kick can really do a lot of damage to a dog. And the dog's not necessarily going to show that damage if it's really adrenalized. But a human kick, like if you were kicking a soccer ball or something like that to a dog's rib cage or something like that, can break bones pretty easily. So I don't recommend the kicking, but if you use the bottom of your foot, let's see if I can show you the example, bottom of your foot, and you're shoving the dog away, you've got a lot of power there. You've got a fair amount of dexterity with your leg that you can really push that dog back. And even if it's a stronger dog, that tends to work really well until the dog realizes there's kind of a boundary there, or the owner can come get it, or what have you. So those are my suggestions. Your value for work ethic is one of the reasons why I support you guys. Although I've never met y'all, it's communicated very well online, in my opinion. Thank you for that. Yes, work ethic is very important to us. What types of structured games to play with a dog besides tug or fetch? I guess it depends on what your dog likes. So one thing that we do with board and train dogs here is we use a flirt pole. I can show you a flirt pole. Give me a second here. We're walking now. So a flirt pole is kind of like a tug almost. So it's this pole here. I'm going to try to unravel it. So it's a pole, and it's got kind of a tassel on the end of it that you swing it around and you bounce it around on the ground and you drag it and your dog chases it. Kind of like you used to see when greyhounds, do greyhounds still do racing? I don't know if that's illegal or not now. But it's kind of like the rabbit that they chase around the track. They get really into it. They can pounce on it and they can bite it and all that sort of stuff. Really fun game for dogs, and usually pretty safe, not quite like tug, where, you know, your dog is gonna bite your hand off if you don't have rules and stuff like that. It usually works out really nicely for dogs. Other things you can do are food games and such. You can hide food, like the dog's kibble, around the house in little piles where they can kind of hunt and use their brain and really search out that food. So put little handfuls here and there, and they can kind of scavenge through the house, which is what dogs were really meant to do. Different things like that. That would be my suggestion. Semi-aggressive corgi, where should we begin? Do we board and train or one-on-one? If you're talking about my company, it would depend on what the aggression is. If it's some type of, I don't know, just reactivity or something like that on the walk, you might be able to do just one-on-one or even just some online classes. If it is something where, you know, the dog's going to be pretty aggressive towards the trainer trying to handle them, then that would be something I would recommend a board and train for. You got my dog's attention with that hay. Well, awesome. See? It's working already. Oops. Okay. What's the best way to address possession aggression? I can't approach the dog if she has a toy. It's something where that's where tug is super, super valuable. Teaching your dog to drop a tug on command, essentially drop a toy on command, and that it is part of the game. It's part of the relationship. It's part of the, you know, the best thing in their day is dropping that toy, but it also gives you power to enforce it later on. So we have a great video on our YouTube page on how to get a dog to drop a tug or a toy, and it kind of goes through all the steps of it, and it's something that you can enforce later on with a leash or something like that if your dog does not want to drop that tug or toy. So check those out. Very, very helpful. Let's see here. Best strategy to use for a dog who barks out the window at dogs or people? Yeah, you need to take away the window. So make that completely off limits in the house. You're going to correct your dog every single time they go to the window. If they even try to approach it, send them over to their place bed. Window's off limits now. That's going to help a lot. I volunteer a lot with rescue dogs. How to address a dog who continually jumps and bites at the leash. Something that we really, really love here in Board and Train, because we get dogs who do that pretty regularly. A spray bottle filled with water works just miracles. So you can hook a little spray bottle onto your jeans or your belt or something like that, and when the dog tries to jump up, just go kind of in their face area when they first try to do it, and they go, wait a second, what are you doing, right? And it kind of gets through to them really, really quickly. I absolutely love it. It would be a great tool for rescue dogs and stuff like that. Working in the shelter system works just amazing. How do you determine how long a dog needs to be in board and train, and do they ever go home earlier than originally planned? You know, what we're trying to do is achieve the owner's goals and achieve what is best for the dog. And so our programs are kind of set up according to the time frame that we think dogs will bloom organically. So I can train your dog in 2 weeks, absolutely. That's why there's 2-week board and trains at places all over the country. We can definitely train your dogs in 2 weeks. I want your dog to bloom organically in the time frame that they are here. I don't want to just force your dog to comply with obedience commands and send them home and tell you that they're fixed. And that's the really big difference between an obedience trainer and a behavioral trainer. I need to change your dog's mindset. I don't need to change your dog's obedience, right? So the time frames are set up very specifically. So dogs with no behavioral issues at all, no anxiety, no fear, no aggression, no reactivity, no nothing, 4-week program. Dogs with mild to moderate behavioral issues, 6-week program. Dogs with moderate to severe, 8-week program. And we determine that through an over the phone interview, essentially, with you on which one of those your dog needs to fit in. It hasn't happened that a dog would finish earlier, because training is a lifelong thing. So it wouldn't matter if your dog spent 6 weeks or 6 years with us, we would still be making progress at the end of the 6 years. Denver says, hi, cute boy. How old is Denver now? I think he was at least 6 when he came to us, 6 or 7. Sweet boy, you need to send us a video of him. Hi, Steph, you rock, and I'm glad Pua is with you guys. Thank you for all you did with Wally and Lola. You're welcome. I kind of miss them. They're very sweet. And Miss Pua is an amazing dog if she would just stop knocking her water dish over. Everything in the universe would be amazing if Pua would just not knock her water dish over. That would be awesome. I think her water dish now has like 11 carabiners attached to it inside her kennel, attached to like every aspect. It looks like a spider web holding up her water dish so that she won't dump it. She's so funny. My husband just commented, we hire everyone on their caliber and their character. Stop jumping on people. We went over that. Put your dog on a leash. Don't let them jump. Every time they jump, snap down on that leash, say nope, and tell your guest or whoever it is, don't pet them, don't touch them, don't look at them. If they approach you correctly later on, yeah, you can pet my dog. But right now, they didn't deserve it. They didn't earn it. What kind of previous canine experience do you expect people that want to be part of your shadow program? You don't need any experience at all. That's for absolutely anybody who wants to learn more about dog training. My husband, when will you be home for dinner? I'm not sure yet. How to stop puppy from nipping and biting. Leave your puppy on a leash. Pull your puppy away every single time that they try to do it. Tell them no. You can also use a spray bottle filled with water to kind of interrupt them and tell them not to do that. I'm getting this question a lot. Confidence building for fosters. So working them for their food is a huge one. And when I say that, I'm talking about working through basic obedience commands for food, for recall for food, building clear languages with your dog. That's going to help a lot. Leaving a leash on in the house to give direction when you need to. It's going to help a lot. Exposure, structured exposure, taking them out and about. That's going to help a lot. There's millions of steps that go into that. So if you really want in-depth stuff, go ahead and check out our online courses. If you go to our website, methodk9.com, and you click on the online courses tab, highly recommend the basic foundation followed by the intermediate foundation for every dog that's 5 months or older. The intermediate foundation is the course that everybody wants. The one that stops the leash reactivity, the one that talks about socialization with people and other dogs, the one that talks about exposure to public places, the one that goes over everything is that intermediate course. But you got to take the basic course to get there, right? Because if you don't take the basic course and you go straight to intermediate, it's absolutely unfair to your dog, right? I will be completely disappointed if you decide to go that road. There's so much in the basic course. There's so much language building and so much psychology and so much that not only your dog needs to understand, but you need to understand prior to going into that intermediate course. Otherwise, you'll probably wind up creating more behavioral issues than undoing. Let's see. How to help 10-month-old dog through second fear stage. Our previously social puppy is now fearful of meeting new people, barks and lunges when people attempt to approach and pet him. Yeah, stop having people approach and pet him. Stick up for your dog. Advocate for your dog. Show your dog, hey, I got you. I know you're a little bit nervous about this. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to let those people interact with you. Check out our YouTube page. We have a video on advocacy. And it doesn't actually say that. What does it say? I think it says how to build trust with your dog. So go check out that video. It talks really extensively about how to advocate for your dog. That can help eliminate so much reactivity, so much aggression. If you just stick up and listen to your dog, you'd be surprised the changes that they make. So that's definitely what I would do to help that dog get through that phase. Have you had dog mates who were aggressive with each other end up being civil with each other? Yeah, after training, pretty regularly. Do you believe that the trust can be rebuilt with each other? Usually it depends on how many serious fights that they've had. If it's been a lot of serious fights, I don't know if the trust can be rebuilt. They can definitely learn to coexist, but it may not be something they ever play together or anything like that. So yeah, if there's a significant amount of serious fights, you're looking at coexistence, not really interaction at that point. How do you advocate for a fearful dog at the vet when they need to touch and handle them? The goal is to advocate so extensively throughout the entire year in every single circumstance that when you take them to the vet and you can't advocate, you've done such a good job of advocating that your dog doesn't feel the need to drop back down to that base level and go back to aggression and such. Oso's owner, awesome first take-home preparation lesson today for Oso. Loved it and learned lots. Thank you, Method Canine. Oso is one of our board and train dogs. He did his first go-home session today. I talked about that before, that our owners go through 6 to 10 hours of training prior to taking their dogs home. It looks like they just completed day 1 and it went really well. That's awesome. Do you do consults on Zoom for those of us that live far away? I do periodically. My schedule is just so packed. It's very, very challenging for me to do that. It likely would not happen this summer. My summer schedule is full pretty much. So if it was something you want to contact me in the fall, I can probably try to squeeze that in. My Remy boy goes up to them in November. Can't wait. So excited. Oso, correct. All right, looks like our questions are petering down. I might answer 1 or 2 more if you folks have something to write in there. And then if not, I will, well, I don't know if I'll be on my way because the weather's still gross and we still have no internet, we still have no phone. But I'll figure out something to do. I'll pull Kane out again. Do you recommend walking our 2 dogs separately when training them? They tend to amp each other up. One lunges at other dogs and people, yeah, definitely walk separately until they're both really smooth sailing. And then when you start walking together, you're starting the whole process over again. As soon as you put 2 dogs together, it changes the dynamic completely and you have to restart the training process. Do you have any suggestions on when female dogs should be fixed? Just personal preference. You know, I'm a little bit more of a fan of keeping them intact until they're fully developed. You know, that kind of thing, especially if you have responsible dog owners. It's not something where they're running around getting pregnant and all that sort of stuff. So all 3 of my dogs have been intact until they're fully developed, and then I spayed and neutered them at that point, and so that was just my personal preference. I like to make sure that the dog has the hormones that they need while they are developing, both physically and behaviorally. It is beneficial, but there are certain circumstances where I have recommended spay and neuter prior to full development, just for certain behavioral things that are going on with the dog, and certain behavioral things that are going on in the household, especially if it's a multiple dog household. So there's no right or wrong answer to that, I don't think. From Oso's owners, Jennifer Henson, this was the best experience with training I've ever had. I had a poor one prior, and just seeing the changes that are small to others but huge for Oso were absolutely beautiful to see. I wish you the very best. That's awesome. You're welcome, April. Dogs that won't accept food after a few days of no food. Always try to work the dog. Try to be more animated, and the hardest part for owners is they want to reach out and give the dog the food. Don't do that. Make the dog chase the food. Make the dog come to you for it. Make the dog work harder. That's how prey drive is built out in the wild, and that's how food drive is built in your dogs. Make them work for it, and the more that they have to chase it, and the more they have to go after it, and the more they have to work harder for it, the higher that food drive goes. So keep working on it. All right, I think that's going to be my last question, folks. If you need more help and stuff like that, I really encourage you to check out our online courses. The puppy course is for 8 weeks to 5 months. The basic course, intermediate course, and leash reactivity course are for 5 months and older. The puppy, the basic, and the intermediate, when they're 50% off, are only $87.50. So not very much. The leash reactivity course, when it's 50% off, is only $47.50. So really cheap investment for something that's really beneficial. It's going to walk you through step by step everything that you need to do with your dog. And in addition to that, you will have access to those videos, that online course, for a year after you purchase it. So if you're getting a dog 2 months from now, 6 months from now, you're planning on buying a dog 8 months from now, you can still buy it now for the purchase price. So check that all out. Go to our website, methodk9.com, click on the online courses tab, and you'll be able to see everything that we offer. I hope all of you take care, and then we'll start posting more videos, and hopefully I can do some more lives. We'll see what my schedule allows, but thanks for watching. End video.